This podcast is dedicated to your personal and spiritual growth. The Pamela Cummins Show will take you on a journey to enhance yourself, relationships with others, your dream interpretation skills, your love life, intuitive abilities, and so much more. Are you ready to begin? Welcome, and thank you so much for stopping by today. It's Pamela, and today I'm going to talk about one of my favorite topics in the world, boundaries. Boundaries are needed in all of your relationships, whether that is with your mate, friends, co-workers, boss, clients, pets, and especially with our family. And believe me, our family is often where it's hardest to establish a boundary. Now, I'm going to read 3 paragraphs from the chapter The Wonderful World of Boundaries. That is in my book, Psychic Wisdom on Love and Relationships. Individuals set boundaries to feel safe, respected, and heard. Sounds simple enough. Then why are so many women either terrified or apologetic for making a boundary? And men can be this way too. A former spiritual advisor once told me, when I first heard of boundaries, I realized I had none. As a child, I was never taught what boundaries were or how to make them. In fact, I was sometimes punished if I unknowingly made a boundary. I now understand that boundaries are needed to stand up for yourself and not accept unacceptable behavior. The boundary journey is not an easy path. Expect to walk through a lot of fear, make many mistakes, learn how to be in balance with making boundaries, lose so-called friends, deal with angry reactions to your boundary. It is worth every moment because the rewards you give yourself are respect, confidence, and self-love. I have experienced the rewards of boundary making. I love teaching and encouraging my clients to make boundaries. One of my greatest compliments was when a client told me, "You have good borders." It proved to me how far I've come and all the hard work was worth it. Now, it's time to look at 3 types of boundaries. Now, there are more, but let's look at 3 main types, which are physical, verbal, and spiritual. Let's go over each one of these that I read to you from my book, Personal Growth Affirmation. Physical boundaries. Are you wondering what a physical boundary is? Or do you think it's a fence surrounding a homeowner's yard to keep intruders out? In a sense, physical boundaries are similar to a fence. Instead, they protect our bodies. Here is my personal definition of what boundaries are from my book, Psychic Wisdom on Love and Relationships. Individuals set boundaries to feel safe, respected, and heard. These are ways a person could violate your personal boundary. Standing too close during a conversation, touching any part of your body, punching you in the face, or forcing you in an unwanted sexual act. Nobody has the right to touch you without your permission or in a way that makes you feel uncomfortable. However, it is your job to enforce the boundary before, during, or after the intrusion. How can you execute a physical boundary? When you feel boundary is needed, you can hold your arms out in front of you to stop an unwanted hug, block the perpetrator's hand or fist, use your voice by saying, "Don't touch me," or report a violation to the authorities. If a person reacts badly to you setting boundaries, please know it's appropriate to impose a boundary to ensure your safety. And the affirmation is, I am making physical boundaries. The second boundary is verbal boundaries. Were you ever offended by words spoken by a stranger or loved one? Do you feel hurt when criticized by a person? Sticks and stones can break your bones, yet words have the potential to wound you deeply. I'm going to repeat that. Sticks and stones can break your bones, yet words have the potential to wound you deeply. Some people tend to brush off offensive or critical words as no big deal. Nevertheless, in reality, these verbal statements are a form of emotional and mental abuse. Examples of abusive speech are, "Why are you so stupid? You will never amount to anything. Who would want to marry a fat pig like you?" or why can't you be pretty like your sister? When a child or adult is spoken to in that manner, their subconscious mind doesn't judge the fidelity of those words while allowing them to be stored in the brain. Therefore, those stored words will unconsciously affect their daily life in a negative manner. Now is the time to enforce verbal boundaries to those who use offensive or critical language. You can make a verbal boundary by telling the person you will not accept being talked to in that manner, letting someone know that this subject is not open for discussion, walking away from the verbal abuser, or asking yourself whether the source of the opinion is a healthy or dysfunctional human being. After the incident, use powerful affirmation to erase those harmful words. Lastly, vow to think first about what you're going to say to prevent you from speaking unkindly. Apologize immediately if you do blurt out critical or offensive words. And the affirmation is, I am making verbal boundaries. The third and last boundary that we're going to talk about in this podcast is spiritual boundaries. Did anyone ever ridicule your religious or spiritual beliefs, or try to force their beliefs upon you? How did you feel when someone pokes fun at your universal knowing? Perhaps you're wondering if there really are any ill effects when a person preaches that their way is the only way. Just like physical and verbal boundaries, spiritual boundaries are necessary to feel safe, respected, and heard. Since we're spiritual beings in human bodies, our spirituality is the source of who we are. Therefore, it either enhances or has negative effects on our bodies and minds. There are numerous paths to a higher source. Everyone has their own unique way of getting there. Consequently, no person or religious belief is the right way. When someone is shoving their spiritual knowing down your throat, the following boundaries can help you. Disagree with them, listen without responding, take what the person says with a grain of salt, walk away from the discussion, or keep your distance. If a loved one threatens to abandon you unless you comply with their religion or spirituality, this person is showing you that their love is conditional. Lovingly point out that you wish they could accept you for who you are. If they cannot, then you are better off without the relationship. And the affirmation is, I am making spiritual boundaries. I hope this podcast gives you a clear vision of what boundaries are. You can find my books, Psychic Wisdom on Love and Relationship, and Personal Growth Affirmations at all major online bookstores, or go to my shop page at www.PamelaCummins.com. The last name is spelled Cummins, no G. So I wish you much joy, learning, and adventures with making your boundaries. Namaste. Till the next time. Bye-bye.